link here really quick to everyone. We have Danny, Alyssa, and Ray here with us who are current students, and they're here to answer any questions that you have. I know there are some questions that like I feel like pop up a lot, so I'm happy to answer those too, but I'll let you guys like take the stage. Do you have like questions from anybody who is here? I'm gonna put this in here before I forget. So PineGateRoad.com/. There is the link to purchase if you are ready. So how long? Yeah, do you want to do a little, like, let's kind of, sorry, I'm like, come to here and now I don't know what to say. Danny, Alyssa, and Ray, do you guys want to just talk a little bit about your like stories and where you were at before and after, and like, just letting you all know that are joining today, like I've told them to like not hold back, to like share the good and the bad and all of the things, because I want you to get a real perspective of what this is like and not just like some fluffy sales stuff, which I just did. My fluffy sales was not fluffy, but like the sales pitch. So I want you to like really feel like you're ready to make this happen.
Yeah, I'd love to share a little bit. I'm probably, like, just being totally honest, I might cry, like just tears of joy and disbelief. So I'm Danny. I'm a certified life and business coach, also a certified practitioner of NLP, EFT, time techniques, and hypnotherapy. And I've been doing this work for the last 6 years. And I spent like most of those years really struggling, watching other people in my industry, like close friends of mine, business besties, like hit their first 6 figures in the first 6 months or the first year or 2 years. And side note, I also have 2 small kids, and most of my business besties and other friends and people who are crushing it don't have kids. And so one of the things that I love about Kelsey is that she's a mom, so she gets it, and she's continuing to scale and grow as a mom, for any of you who are moms. But my kids are a big part of why I do what I do, and not having the success that I wanted and knew was available to me for a really long time, it was painful. I think that, you know, at some point I had doubted, was it really even possible for me? And was I ever going to have those like elusive 10K months? And prior to enrolling in Align Business Academy, in my like 5 years of business, now 6, I had 2 5-figure months, but it kind of felt like that golden goose egg. Like I had one, and then it was like a 2K month and a 3K month. And it wasn't like, it just wasn't there. It wasn't consistent. And Kelsey doesn't even know this, but in September, I brought in $14,000 cash. And in contracted work, it was 20K. And so I had reached my goal of 20K this May. So in the middle of a global pandemic, May was a record-breaking month in my business. And I remember like, okay, cool, this is great. Can I keep doing this? July beat out May. And then this September beat out July. And so like 5-figure months are my new norm. I'm now somebody who creates 5-figure months with ease. And I'm still a little bit like, is this real? Is this my life? Is this happening? And Aligned Business Academy is the perfect name, because I've done all of this and like been traveling and doing distance learning with, just so you guys know, I have a kid who's in kindergarten and a 2nd grader. Like they need a lot of my time and energy. I've taken really good care of myself. I spend a lot of time out in nature. I really like reading and taking naps. And so I've been able to reach this success while also like designing a life that I absolutely love that has nothing to do with my business. And so I'm just really super duper grateful. I was really excited to share that with you, Kelsey, because I don't even think you knew.
I don't hear like even half the wins. I'm so excited for you. Yeah, that's amazing.
A piece of me wishes that I wasn't in it just so I could sign up today. I was getting I'm like, yes. So you guys, I really hope that you're considering joining this, because it is just, it's so worth it. It's so, so, so worth it.
Thank you so much for sharing. Ray or Alyssa, do you want to share your, like, I don't know, stories so far?
Hi. Can I?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to, full disclosure, I ended up having to go somewhere, so I'm taking a ride, and while I have good service, I want to just like start talking.
Yeah.
I'm Ray, though. I'm a web designer and a web developer, and I pretty recently, as of like July, quit my job in New York where I was living, moved back to Maryland, and took my business full time. Definitely would not have done that without first having a little bit of a breakdown and coming to where she gave me a really good idea about making a small pivot in my business, and just asking me honestly what would it feel like if I quit my job. And that was something I never really gave like a true thought to. And I think maybe 4 days later I had that talk started happening and I quit. In August, I actually booked $19,000 in sales, and I just felt so great about that, because that's like just some weird, unimaginable number that I never thought I would achieve. I actually think it's kind of funny because during the retreat day that we had, I guess, when was that retreat day that I would have been able to make it to? The end of July?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote down some pretty scary numbers when we were, doing that portion of the retreat day where we map things out and talk about, like our goal sales number would be and what all the things. Like I was literally writing things down thinking that'll probably not happen for quite some time. And then, just weeks later, things were rolling in for me. I feel like moments where I felt like ABA like either wasn't working for me, or like maybe I didn't make the right decision or something like that. But once I really hung on what my bigger picture is and what that was looking like for me, I really feel like that reframing for me, like just kind of set me on the right path. And it has everything to do with being an ABA, having access to Kelsey and all of her expertise. And then also just all the other people in our group too. Everyone's there, I feel, to kind of help each other out and, just bounce ideas off of. I love that I can just have an idea or have a question and pop into the group and ask. I also love having an alignment coach. That's great too. Accountability coach other.
Can I share, I think some of that cut out, but like, can I share like you coming to me the one time?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so Ray was actually like, I'm full-time nannying. I don't think I can make this happen. Like, I need to leave. And I'm like, Ray, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
So we kind of had like a reset session, and I was like, let's see like what is that future that you're really working towards. And I think you kind of like cut in and out, and it was like we had that call, and then she was able to like see that future vision. She left her nannying job, and then you've had like your crazy months like right afterwards, which was insane. Like I even like I'm always blown away by all the results people are getting, because I'm just like, what? Like, planning it and all of the things and like working on the mindset, you're like, okay, like that sounds all good, but then it like actually happens time and time again. It's just like, it's nuts. You can't put real, like, it just doesn't make sense to your brain.
Yeah, I mean, it's meant to be. That's just how I look at it now. I don't fight it.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Alyssa, do you want to share your?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I have similar stories to both these ladies. I joined the Academy this past January. I think Danny and I joined at the same time. So we've really been in it for, this entire year. So we are coming, which I'm sad, like we're coming on the end of our journey with the ABA now. But when I joined, I was what I called myself like freelancing, and just, which you all know what that is, but really just charging way less than I should be, just honestly trying to gain experience anywhere I can, just honestly make ends meet. I'm still working through, but had so many mindset issues surrounding money. Like I wasn't even tracking my income properly. It's all embarrassing and bad to say out loud, but I just like money stuff is hard for me. And, you know, it was like, okay, I'm able to pay my bills. Like, that's all that matters. Like, hopefully everything works out. Working extreme hours. I mean, all I did was work. I don't have kids, you know, and I just, that just overworking at least 10-hour days, most days, working most weekends, just exhausting and not living this life that I wasn't thriving, you know? So I joined the ABA. I actually had experience working with a coach prior to that, and to be honest, it was a really negative experience. Similar to Kelsey was actually saying earlier, I paid for this coaching experience one-on-one and really got no deliverables that I was supposed to by the end of it. So I was a little bit nervous to join any kind of coaching, anything, but I also just felt like I was just grinding my gears. And I was so exhausted and feeling, you know, like the work that I was doing, I should be making more money for. So I joined in January and really have been, honestly, I think for me, the mindset stuff has been incredibly huge. It's still a work in progress. I was actually, you know, being fully honest, I was on the call a couple weeks ago and I was like on the verge of tears. And I was like, I'm so discouraged. I haven't had a sale. Like, life is really hard right now. I've been going through a lot of personal stuff and I just need like some encouragement, some mindset, and also like help me figure out a plan. So, you know, as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of ups and downs, and to not only have Kelsey, to have a community where it's like, I'm in the thick of this and I just need somebody to like, not even pretend that things are going to be okay, but actually help me figure out a plan has been incredible. I actually just was trying to pull up some numbers because I'm still trying to get better at money. I hired a financial advisor, so that's a big thing for me. But I actually pulled up like an old note on my computer, and by June 1st, I had already made $10,000 more this year than my entire earnings last year alone. And, you know, I wasn't rolling. I'm still building that income, but I've had consistent 10K months. I think, March, April, May, and June were all consistent 10K months. I've had a little bit of a slower summer, which is also because I've been a little bit inactive and have had a lot going on, and I'm swinging up again. Things are picking up again, and I'm on track for at least a 10K month this month, if not closer to 20. But it just kind of depends on how those projects play out with, you know, the timelines. So another kind of random side note is also, Kelsey helps you figure out payment plans to be able to charge. Sorry, I'm not trying to get into too many details. I'll wrap up after this, but that was huge for me. Like, oh my gosh, if I'm booking 2 projects a month that are $10,000 projects each, I'm getting $5,000 a month per person per month. So I already have 2 10K months because of the payment plans alone, if that makes sense. So even just being able to like figure out like steady income streams has just felt so reassuring. To, you know, like I said, if personal stuff happens, I don't have kids, but if Danny, you know, has something going on with her kids and she needs to take a couple weeks off or whatever that looks like, to have that financial stability has just been so freeing. So yeah, it's definitely ups and downs, but I know that I would not be where I am. I similarly to Danny was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. Maybe I just need to go get a job. But I will never look back. I will never do that again. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And I wanted Alyssa to share that too, because like, even though you can have these like big successes, like sometimes there are like little blips, and like, it's so important to be in community and to get support through those hard times, more so than even the good times, I would say. So Alyssa was able to like come to the group and be like, here's how I'm feeling. Like, I'm in a really, like, things were great, and now I'm like having a rough month. Like, what do I do? And then like turn it around. So that's what this is for too, to get you really stable over that year. So you're like, not just like learning from a course and going, but it's like this whole program to get things flowing for you. So, does anybody have any other questions that they want to talk through or ask the guests here? I know there's some coming up here. So Kelsey, is your coaching program evergreen? It is. So it is evergreen, but we do have, like, when people enroll, they have 5 days to enroll, unless it's during one of these, like, you all are obviously coming in from the challenge, and then we're talking about like, I have that price increase. So I have been behind the scenes, whatever, like I've been like enrolling more people because I'm like, the price is going up. If you would like in now, like this is your chance, because then after that, it's just going to be the 7,500 going on. So what's the difference between the retreats and the biweekly calls? So the retreat is a full day where we really work on your aligned business model, and like we do this really awesome meditation where we figure out who future you is and start to build that into your business model. The bi-weekly calls are hourly calls where you can submit questions. We meet together. Like I said, like Alyssa was just like, I don't know, I'm having a bad month and I need to talk about it. So she like submitted it, and we like took some time and space to talk about it on that bi-weekly call. So it's kind of more this like coaching session. And then the retreat's like a full day where you focus on your business and that future version of you, and making sure you're really taking all those necessary steps towards that person. So what, I know some of you are probably like, the feelings, like, what are you, like, you can even pop up and be like, what is going on in your head that might be like, I want to, but, because that's like, we're here to talk through that right now too, and to get the perspective of other people in here.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Probably for Danny and Alyssa, but so like my biggest hesitation with coaching, like for a while I've been thinking, kind of not actively searching, but thinking like, I think I need coaching. Like I have specific questions about like my specific business that you just can't get answered in like a course or like a group thing or whatever. And when I like presented this the academy to my husband, he's like, coaching is just like somebody telling you, okay, what are your goals and what are you going to do to get there, and it's still like all on you. Like, do you guys feel like like if I have specific questions about figuring out my audience or how to I don't know, figure out how to like plan my capacity, like those kind of specific questions, do you feel like you are able to get those answered as well?
Yeah, a huge part of, I was feeling stuck and nervous around March, like with COVID. And I had an offering. I basically, like, you could hang out with me for free on social media, or you could pay me $5,000 for coaching. And it felt like there was a gap there. And so in a matter of minutes, on one of our group biweekly calls, Carla had asked, the calls are like this, you're on Zoom together and you can submit things beforehand. But I was tossing around some ideas with Kelsey and getting input from everybody else. And in that one call, I took away an idea that was the idea that had allowed me to generate multiple 5-figure months with ease. And you're amazing. I'm amazing. We're all amazing as individuals, but we can't always see the thing for ourselves. Like, there's so much power in having a coach and being able to say, okay, blah, here's what I'm thinking, and having other people look at it and see things that you might have missed. Because if I had not been on that call, like, I know with absolute certainty, I probably would have created something awesome on my own. But if I hadn't been on that call, that offer would have never been born. And this year would have looked really differently. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. And like, so when you're creating that offer, like, I don't know, like the logistics of it, or like figuring out the pieces, like you were able to get that help too, like the in-between, like making it a real thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was born on the call. So then what happened? So I hop on the calls. I wanted to let you guys know, when Kelsey said there were 30 lessons in the framework, I'm like, really? 30 lessons? As a busy mom, like, I haven't been through the whole framework. I've had massive success from just showing up to the retreats and the live calls, asking my questions. And then as soon as I, get the support, get the answer, I hop off the call, start implementing. And then what happens? You're implementing something new. So you run into roadblocks. Right. Sometimes I'll wait 2 weeks for the call, or I'll just pop in the Facebook group and say, hey guys, here's where I'm at. Can I get some feedback? Can I get some support? Kelsey will chime in. Everyone else will chime in. So your hand is being held and you're being guided through, the creation and the processing of everything inside of your business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's helpful for
Yeah,
sure.
that's been huge for me. The framework, I've spent a lot of really this summer, and that's actually why I kind of had a little bit of a lull this fall. I realized always learning lessons. I really took some time off from client work and set up all of the foundations of my business. I am a total like perfectionist, whatever, working through that stuff, like having to have things be perfect before we put them out. And actually, when I started this like business, I just fell into it. I got fired from my job and I was like, okay, I guess I'm just going to freelance. And I never set up my business. I didn't have business banking accounts. I already said the stuff about money, but I didn't have proper processes. I didn't feel super confident or really have a structure of how sales calls should go. So the framework I've gone through, you know, differently than Danny, I've gone through a ton of the framework, I think most of it. And I know somebody had asked a question, how long they are. Each of the lessons are different, but some of them are like over an hour, you know? So these aren't just like 10-minute little like helpful tips. It's like full strategy and teaching you, which is also incredibly helpful to be able to do it on your own, that you can pop in the group or pop on a call and say, hey, I was going through this framework. Can we chat about it and how it applies to my business? But it's nice that you're also able to go at your own pace. Like Danny said, whether it's life stuff or even just being at different places in your business than maybe some of the other people in the group. So it's definitely, yeah, really, really helpful.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think Brittany, just like we can have some of our own goals and our things, but like getting to like beyond that sometimes takes that outside perspective. So like coaching is so much more than just being like holding you accountable to your goals. It's like, I can't even like use the right word, but like I love having coaches who see things inside of me that like I'd never be able to pull out of myself on my own. And that's like, I have like 4 coaches like in different areas of things. Like I'm obsessed. Like I just know that getting that support gets me to where I want to go so much more quickly with so much support than like doing it on my own, or like even just setting goals. I'm pretty good at setting goals and hitting them, but like it's bigger than that, I guess.
Yeah, there's something else too. I want to know, I'm really into energy and mindset. It's a big part of what I do. Can you guys feel the collective energy of being here? Do you feel that buzz of energy? Does anyone else feel it? Like there's magic and momentum that gets created. So it's so much more than just like hiring a coach. And that's why sometimes I come to, actually a lot of times I come to the group calls. I try to come to all of them, whether I need support or not, because being in the energy has power. Like that in and of itself is what has allowed me to create momentum. So like having Kelsey is really awesome. Having a weekly accountability coach, super awesome. Just being in this container of, and I've been in a lot of programs, and there's something really special. Like Kelsey attracts a certain kind of woman, a certain kind of business owner, someone who's really dedicated, really committed. There's like a caliber of human who is attracted to working with Kelsey, which is why each and every one of you are here. And so it's not just like any old group of like nice women. It's a bunch of women who are really committed, like driven, ambitious, heart-centered women. And like Kelsey was saying, I know I could reach my goals by myself, but I don't want to wait years. I want the results and I want the goals now. And it's just like all of the pieces of how the program is put together. I'm confident and certain that's what has allowed me to go from struggling for 5 years to, in a matter of 8 months, like reaching all the goals that I've been dreaming of, if that makes sense. So it's more than just like hiring a coach, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if anybody else has a question, pop in. I saw in the chat, somebody had said like, what if I have a bad month and I can't, you know, pay? First of all, I'm not sure of the logistics of that. But second of all, like that is something that you will tackle so quickly. You know, I already said, I guess I'm just going to bring up all my money issues today, but you know, I felt that way too. I was like barely paying my bills and like, I was terrified. I literally like hit submit in a parking lot because Kelsey and I were chatting and I was just like, I just have to do this. Like I finished grocery shopping and I was like, fine, I'm just going to commit. I had no idea where the money was going to come from. I did not have $5,000 in my bank account. And that's not a joke. Like I literally have more savings in my life than I've ever, it honestly scares me. And I'm not a millionaire. I'm not rolling in crazy money, but just, I have never had savings in my life. You know, so I just would encourage, I know how hard and scary it is and how real, especially in a pandemic, etc., money issues are. Like, that's not to be taken lightly, but I would encourage you to try to step outside of that mindset and just say, either what can I do? You know, I'm sure Kelsey's already gone through this, but if it's a part-time job or selling stuff or whatever, but to be honest, I didn't even have to get to that point. I, like Kelsey said, we raised my prices beyond anything I ever imagined was possible. And then I sold them. So like, I just want to say that I've been there and I see that and I understand the tension. Obviously you have to do what's best for you, but I think to kind of step out, if you really are dedicated and committed to making it happen for yourself, I really do believe it can, because it did for me. I think I barely even had the like $500 to do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm trusting that I'm gonna bust my ass and somehow make these payments. So
I'll also share, like, I have a podcast episode where I recorded myself like making a really scary investment, because I'm like awkward and have a podcast diary. And I then like shared that episode of like me freaking out about making an investment, and then myself like a year later and what happened because of that. So if you want to go to the Align Business podcast and listen to that, it's episode 74. That was like me freaking out about money. I know, like, and Imogen's even writing like, yeah, like what if you don't have money to live? Like, I will also say, like, I never want to put anybody in that kind of position. And I also always like, there are people who join in really like money tight situations and make it happen. So this is ultimately up to you. And I also know that when this is like all the like riskiness of like how you can feel that, but like when I back myself up against a wall financially, like I sure as hell am committing to myself. I will do whatever it takes to go make that happen. And I don't, like, everybody has their own sense of energy, but I'm like, has there ever been a time where you have gone all in and like had no plan B? There is no other option. Like, the energy that you pull out of that is incredible. And I've done that to myself. I'm not recommending to do it. And there's some magic that can happen too. So I just want to like throw that all out there. And at the end of the day, like, that's, yeah, stuff.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just want to let everyone know I was self-isolating in New York, or in Maryland rather, because I got exposed to COVID when I found her freebie. Do you remember, Kelsey? Because I had no money. But her freebie, we're going to talk about energy just to piggyback off of like literally everything everyone just said. I felt, I don't know, I did the freebie. It was 25 profitable offers that you could start using right now in your service-based business. And it provided so much value to me that other freebies never had. And I reached out to Kelsey and thanked her for it. And then on my own research, discovered ABA was a thing. And I very aggressively like did the same exact thing where I joined in on one of these calls where I learned about ABA. And then I very aggressively was like, take my money, I'm signing up, I don't care how much it costs. And I honestly couldn't afford it. I couldn't, but I knew that if I don't start doing something different and just start and just take the dive, I'm going to keep getting the same results, which was never having enough money to do anything and not having any sort of a plan for my business and not knowing where I could possibly take it. And all of that stuff just went straight out the window and turned around, the second I got an ABA. And I'm so glad that I, was ready to take that risk. I mean, it was extremely scary. It's $500 a month, or if you pay for it all at once or whatever, it's a big chunk. And for some people.
Is she breaking up?
Am I going to get a client? Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
You like it like cut out for like 5 seconds.
It was scary and it was a risk, but I did it and I don't regret it. And I encourage people who are teetering on the edge to do the same thing. It's a big scary. I call it big scaries, but sometimes you have to do those to you know, to get different results and get the results that you want. So that's all I have to say on that.
You, Ray.
Can I touch on that too?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm like talking too much. So not for ABA, but the first coaching program. And I'm wondering like how many of you, this might be your first coaching program or like really early on in your business. And for Brittany too, I don't recommend this. Like you have to do what's best for you. But I wanted to do a program. Actually, it was double this amount and I did not get nearly as much out of that program as I did in this. So it was a 10K investment. I was terrified, did not have the money. So terrified that I didn't want to tell my husband because I knew he'd say no. So in a conversation with my grandmother, I told her I was going to take out a credit card and she said, let me give you the money to do it. I mean, not give you, like you can borrow the money.
Oh.
And so I took a loan from my grandma and I used to have so much shame around that. Like who does that? You guys, to this day, my grandma's my biggest freaking cheerleader because she knows how much stake I had in the game. So like, paid her off. And then just last year, Kelsey and I were actually in a different program together, a certification program. And it was like roughly a 10K investment. And I could have paid for it, but I thought, you know what, let me get like an interest-free credit card. Let me finance this. I don't know where you guys are in the world, but Discover, I think has like 18-month interest-free credit cards. You will pay it off. Like you will pay it off in 18 months. And there's like no harm in that if that works for you. And something else Kelsey said was she's constantly, when she's making scary decisions, and I do this too, is she's asking like, what would that future version of her do? And one of my mentors shared something with me a while ago, and he said, if we continually make decisions from our current set of circumstances, we are going to remain in our current set of circumstances. And I get that it's scary AF to make a decision from a place that you're not at yet. And logically that doesn't make sense, but being an entrepreneur logically doesn't really make sense. Like we're not here to be realistic. We're here to make a really big difference. We're here to pursue our dreams. We're here to do really incredible work in the world. And that often requires us to step outside of where we are and to step into where and who we're being invited to become. Again, that is very scary, but every single time I have made that decision, it has been so worth it. I have never regretted doing that. So just wanted to share that with you. That's kind of what I think about when I'm making big, scary decisions in my business.
Yeah, I have that. I mean, I do the same thing. Like I have. And it's my feelings. I've like identified it now. I'm like, okay, I'm going to vomit. I cry and I get over it and make it happen. But yeah, getting really clear on who that future version of you is and then making decisions from that place. And it could not be this. It could be other things. Like I don't want to ever pressure anybody to do something. I just want to be very like realistic about what can happen when you find that aligned place and space. And I have my whole heart and soul in this program and love supporting people in it. Are there any other like feelings, questions coming up around this all? You don't have to talk either. I know some of you are like listening in from other places, but if there's anything else that you're just like, I want to, but like, this is what this is here for. Are you all good? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for spending this time with me. Thank you, Danny, Alyssa, and Ray for sharing. I know it's so like helpful when it's not just coming from me and it's like, okay, you get to like actually share your perspectives of like what it's like. Anybody who has any other questions or wants to talk with me, please reach out on Instagram or email. I'm so happy to like talk through this decision with you. And if there's any like, yeah, because there's sometimes stuff you just don't want to bring up in group settings or whatever. So let me know, and I'm so happy to chat through that. And it's been amazing being with you this entire week. Like, thank you so much for showing up. This like lights my soul on fire, being able to just like work through these plans and all of that stuff. And again, send in your workbook to Kelsey at Pine Gate Road before Sunday. And yeah, we'll talk soon, and best of luck with everything. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Bye.